So we're going to be looking at the story about Republicans pushing for a monument to Charlie Kirk in the Capitol. We're going to be looking at a Twitter post from a congressman who wants to ban anyone who is, I quote, belittling this incident. And I do want to share a couple other photos for you. And then I'm going to finish out by sharing an email from a Healthy American. I've gotten lots of emails from Healthy Americans about my coverage of the story. And before we, let's do this. Here's Charlie with his wife. And many people said they didn't even realize that he was married. Now, I have not followed Charlie Kirk. I don't really follow the MAGA, Maha, whatever, other than to use my critical thinking skills. So I should have mentioned that at the beginning of this broadcast. If you are not a person of discernment, if you do not want to develop critical thinking skills, if you already have a mind that is made up and you don't want to entertain evidence and clues and data, then this is not the channel for you. I would just save your time and click off and go watch something else. Because what I want to share with you, we are going to look at this, and some people that stumbled across my channel didn't like that I showed pictures actually, here's a new one. So we saw his wife, Erica, and I can't imagine what Erica's going through right now. But several months ago, around Father's Day, she posted this picture from her Instagram page. It's on her Instagram page. And I'm concluding that this is a picture of one of her child's palms, because it says, "Thank you for blessing me with the privilege of watching you become the most incredible father. Gigi approves." So I guess Gigi is the daughter. It looks to me as if this picture is taken under a glass table or a piece of glass, because the fingerprints are pushed up against it. So my conclusion is that the mother helped this baby create this symbol, this sign that people like to use, politicians like to use. And it's kind of holding the palm up against the glass. I find that so odd. Like, or do you think the baby created that sign? Is it hereditary? Or is it just political? So I want you to tell me. So here's Charlie Kirk doing that sign. Here's Charlie Kirk's Gigi doing that sign. And I want to thank the Healthy American who sent that to me. Here is Roger Stone with members of the Proud Boys. Why are they doing that? What does that mean? Everything is A-okay? How often have you intentionally, it's actually hard for me to even to hold my fingers up that way. They want to curl a little bit. And have you done that? Now, I know this is a symbol in yoga. Yoga uses this kind of Om symbol. You tell me, because whenever I bring up these symbols, people tell me, well, that's just a yoga pose. That's just, people just do that when they're nervous. That's what some of the commenters have said. So I don't know if Trump's doing yoga or if he's nervous, but like, what's going on with that? Covering one eye, and the one eye symbolism, if you're not aware of that, I'm sure someone in the comments will answer that for you. So Matthew actually is his name. That looks very, very intense. Now, is it everybody with their right hand? Let's go back and look. Dell's got his right hand. And my computer's very slow because I have tons of windows open as I'm doing all this research. So I really want to get off this screen. I don't want to be looking at this man too long here. Am I going to get a new screen here? Charlie's got his right hand. I don't know if, no, that's the story we're going to look at. That looks like it's the baby's right hand. And of course, all the Proud Boys, that looks like it's their right hand. So you tell me what is up with that. I will tell you that they're signaling something. And if anybody has ever watched football or baseball, there's all kinds of signals. It's a known way of signaling something. And I don't know what exactly they're signaling. You tell me. Well, here's the news. Republicans are pushing for a monument to Charlie Kirk in the Capitol. And I had that for you here that, how did I get stuck on that guy again? Congressional Republicans want a monument built in the United States Capitol to honor Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist whose September 10th, well, I don't know how they can call it an assassination. Did the perpetrators say that it was for a political reason? Is Charlie a political leader? Plenty of people are killed and murdered, and they're not necessarily assassinated. We'll have to dive into that in another video and look up the definition of an assassination, but they certainly are using that word. And it plunged the nation into fear and mourning. Notice how USA Today, where this story comes from, used the word fear first. Now, I wanted to give everyone a break from the witnesses that are being trotted out with their smirking and smiling faces. But one thing that was very troubling to me was the news reporters. They kept saying, you must be very scared. That must have been so scary. You must have been so afraid, just like feeding into that. And of course, the witnesses were trying to remember their scripts. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a little search on your own. It's very strange. Am I saying this didn't happen, Peggy? How can you say that? Well, if you watched my video yesterday, I said there are basically 3 possibilities. It happened exactly like the news said, so stop questioning it. It's on the news after all. Or it didn't happen at all and it was all done by AI. That would be kind of a stretch. Or it's a little bit of a mix of both. The event happened, but maybe we're not told exactly what happened. And we can be sure that the powers that shouldn't be are going to use whatever event, whatever the truth is behind this incident, they're going to use it for their nefarious purposes. And I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. I've got actually 5 things that I want to share with you about how they can use this to benefit and profit and politicize and use their propaganda. So I wasn't there. You weren't there. I'm looking at what you're looking at, only I'm bringing more evidence, as I did in my previous video, about movie magic and other things. You need to draw your own conclusion, but please do so based on information and not emotion. 16 GOP lawmakers sent a letter to House Speaker Mike Johnson the day after the killing, asking him to erect a statue of Kirk to celebrate his legacy. This is not a symbolic gesture, but a permanent testament to his life's work, his courage, and his sacrifice, they wrote. It will stand as a reminder that political disagreement must never be answered with violence and that the fight for truth must carry on. Again, there are a lot of conclusions being drawn about this event. Let me know what you think about a statue being erected in Charlie's honor. There he is, Kirk. Why do you think there's a number 93? Let me know in a comment below if you think that's significant. Like, I don't know if you turn it upside down and it was 36, 3 6s, 666, the sign of the evil one. I'm sure it's completely a coincidence. And people hate when I talk about numbers. They hate when I talk about symbols because it doesn't mean anything at all. This is absolutely a coincidence, 100%. And I showed you pictures. Well, you can do an internet search and see all of the celebrities that worship evil. I'm not saying Charlie is one of those, but somehow he's using that symbol that they like to use. Let's do this. This is from Representative Clay Higgins. And this is from his Twitter page. And I'm going to share with you some of the comments as well, but this is a little easier to read at this size. I'm going to use congressional authority and every influence with big tech platforms to mandate immediate ban for life. Did you get that, friends? Of every post or commenter. So even if you're not having a YouTube channel, if you comment on my video and you belittle this event, I'm not going to use the A word, if they ran their mouth with their smart aleck hatred, celebrating the heinous murder of that beautiful young man who dedicated his whole life to delivering respectful, well, I think some people would disagree with that word when you look at his posts and his he wanted children to watch, he wanted young children to watch beheadings in school. He thought that would be good for them to be, for their initiation was the wording he used. So you can look at that. Delivering conservative truth into the hearts of liberal enclave universities, armed only with a Bible and a microphone and a constitution. Those profiles must come down. So I'm going to lean forward. That's another one of their code words for the far left. I'm going to lean forward in this fight, demanding that big tech have zero tolerance for violent political hate content. Okay, well, we'll need to define the words violent and we'll need to define the words hate, because there's really no such thing as hate speech. There's only speech. And we have freedom of speech in this country, like it or not. You might not like the comments. You might not like the content. Don't watch and don't listen. I gave you that caveat at the beginning of this video. So this Higgins is calling for the user to be banned from all platforms forever. Now, that's not enough, friends. He says, I'm also going to go after their business licenses and their permitting, and their businesses will be blacklisted aggressively. They should be kicked from every school and their driver's licenses should be revoked. I'm basically going to cancel with extreme prejudice these evil, sick animals who celebrated Charlie Kirk's killing. I'm starting that today. That is all. And that's another one of those little symbolic phrases. I guess Trump uses that quite a bit. That is all. How do you like them apples, friends? That's not divisive. That's not violent. That's not hate speech. When he says he's coming after you, to ban you for making a comment that he doesn't like, to be banned from all platforms forever, well, that's going against the First Amendment of the Constitution if he is using his power to do that, because the government is not supposed to make any laws infringing our right to speak, because infringing our speech is infringing our thoughts. And then he wants to ruin your life by going after your business. You're going to be blacklisted. You'll be kicked from every school. Your driver's license will be revoked. How do you like them apples? But he's not violent. That's not hate speech. Oh, no, not at all. Let's see what the people have to say. These are the couple of the comments. I don't really follow this too much, but somebody sent this to me, so I wanted to share it with you. Stick with me. I'm going to share an email that I got. I've got several emails supporting my coverage of the video I did yesterday. Then I'm going to leave with you at least 5 ways that the powers that shouldn't be are going to use this event for their advantage and to tyrannize and oppress you. I'll just put it bluntly. So this fellow, Bo, says, oh, look, government using a tragedy to grab power. Who would have thought? Charlie Kirk would be the first to call you out on how stupid this is. The man opened the mic for all to speak, even if they hated his guts. For you to silence people in his name is a desecration to his legacy. Another similar comment. This is exactly what Charlie Kirk stood against. He was not for censorship. He was for freedom of speech and open debate. Perhaps highlighting those posts which you are offended, opening the conversation, and let public debate ensue is what is needed. As someone who lost accounts for petty political reasons, I kindly disagree with you. I guess this person didn't want to be construed as having hate speech, so she said kindly. Now, this is a story I hadn't heard of. Did anyone know about Melissa Hortman, a Democratic lawmaker in Minnesota? This person says that she was assassinated a couple of months ago and Trump basically ignored it. I'll have to look into that. I did not know about that at all. Of course, I don't watch the news per se. I do take a couple for the team here, so to speak, to keep you updated. Here's another commenter. Now, that's what I call a distraction from the Epstein files. Well, let's talk about this, friends, because that's one of my points on how these evildoers are, or I should just say, the powers that shouldn't be is a better way to say it, are going to use this event, regardless of what happened. And what I mean is how it happened. Here's what they're going to do. We just saw this distraction. There's going to be a distraction from so many things because people are riveted on this. In fact, I wasn't even going to bring coverage for you on this today. I was going to talk about Howie Lutnick, not like Lutnick. It's hard to say that name. Who's the Secretary of Commerce. I was going to tell you all about his duper's delight following 9/11. I might even do that for you another day. I have got to do a duper's delight People's Choice, and you can vote on who is the most persuasive, convincing, or better yet, would be who is the worst actor for the duper's delight. So I'll cover that another day. But this definitely is a distraction from what's going on. And the other, so that's one thing. Number one, a distraction from what's going on. Number two, definitely dividing people. You saw this hate-filled comment from this representative saying that he was going to do all he could to ban hate speech while he himself is spewing it. So that's rich. So definitely division is one. Getting rid of freedom of speech. I would say that's number three. We definitely are going to see that. I'm surprised my video is still up. I would say number four, definitely there is going to be increased surveillance. We are going to see probably on college campuses, like the TSA pat downs, being searched, even though it's illegal. Just because you're on a college campus doesn't mean there's any suspicion or reason to believe that you should be searched. Same thing in the airport. Just like if you were walking in a parking lot, they can't arrest you for suspicion of carjacking just because you're in a parking lot. Yet they're going to do that now on college campuses. And then, of course, number one is they are going to go after the guns. You can believe that. So I wanted to finish by reading to you an email from a Healthy American. I got several emails from people saying, thank you so much for covering this, Peggy. Here she goes. Hi, Peggy. Thank you for talking about the latest Totally True Bang Bang episode. When I heard my phone blowing up with texts, I thought, uh-oh, what now? And then I read and saw the Totally True footage and actually thought for a split second that people couldn't possibly continue to fall for this stuff. Boy, was I wrong, she writes. The outrage, the sadness, and the America rallying seemed to be even more so than with Trump's event, which surprised me. I follow very few people online, but the few that I do follow proclaim to have discernment, and they have vocally spoken out about numerous other shenanigans. However, they were believing this immediately without question. When I innocently stated obvious oddities or asked questions, I was immediately eviscerated. Again, even more so than the fight, fight, fight show back of the summer of 2024. I thought to myself, I hope Peggy addresses this, as it helps me feel less alone when another smart, savvy, healthy American can discern and see the truth. So thank you again for reminding me that I am, in fact, sane. Please keep speaking out. And remember, for every naysayer you have out there, I believe you have 10 yay sayers. Thank you so much. I do appreciate your support. And I appreciate everyone who has been commenting on the videos. Oh, she also says, stay safe on this 24-year anniversary when a ragtag band of 19 hijackers in their 20s, under the direction of a wealthy dialysis patient on his deathbed, hiding in a remote Afghanistan cave, held the mightiest military in human history at bay for several hours and destroyed 3 steel and reinforced skyscrapers with 2 jets. And the other amazing thing, friends, is they found the passports. Yeah, I when I saw that, that was really my wake-up call. I have a video on this channel called My 9/11 Story and When I Woke Up, if you want to see that. So there you have it, friends. Thank you so much for being on board. I appreciate all of you being healthy Americans. And again, YouTube is hiding my live stream. I do not see it here, so I'm unable to respond to your comments, but I will do so in an upcoming video. I hope you'll take a break from the headlines and the hogwash and spend some time doing things that you love, which includes not being surrounded by events that we cannot control, but we can discern them. All right.